Hey everybody, welcome back to, well, how do I introduce this one? I love it when my two worlds collide. Welcome back to creating scenery for Microsoft Flight Simulator and Geographic Information Systems, or cartography, or map making, or whatever you want to call it. I think both of you guys, both of your groups should like this. I hope. Maybe I'm optimistic. But anyway, I want to bring some things to your attention that you may not know. I think most of you know, but maybe some people don't know. We, as in the Microsoft Flight Simulator world or Flight Simulator world, we have a lot of resources for our charts. Okay, whether you're doing VFI, yeah, I know what I'm talking about, VFR or IFR, it doesn't matter. We have Navigraph, we have Little Nav Map, we have access to SkyVector, we have airnav.com. We have all types of sites that we can get aeronautical charts. The applications or software that you download, such as Navigraph and Little Nav Map, that kind of stuff, those pieces of software make working with charts so much easier. And it also, they're organized, that kind of stuff. And this is nothing against them. Okay, trust me, this is not against using those programs, because I highly recommend them. I actually use them myself. But a lot of times I like to print my maps out. I might go to AirNav and go to an airport and print an ILS, or, whatever it is, a SID, doesn't matter. And, I download the PDF and I'll print it out just so I have it in my hand or something like that. But one thing you guys need to know is all those pieces of software get the raw data right from the FAA. And I'm only really talking about the United States, okay? I can't speak for data that's available for foreign countries, foreign. I'm sorry if I offended you by calling you a foreigner, because this is an international community. This is not just a United States thing. But I am a citizen in the United States of America, so I concentrate on data available for the U.S., okay? But a lot of those pieces of software, they either have a what should I say? I'm going to say robot for lack of a better term, but they have a robot or whatever that goes out and pings for updated data, okay? And I believe that they actually get the data directly from the FAA for the United States data. But if you are interested and you didn't know about this, okay, up on the screen is the FAA.gov page for digital products that you can simply download. Okay, I want to show you something. I have, and most of you have probably seen these books. Okay, this is a book. This happens to be the what do you call it? The eastern quadrant part of the United States, or whatever it is. This just happens to be EC2. Okay. There's 3 books for EC, 1, 2, and 3, and this just happens to be book number 2, which has Indiana and Ohio, okay? And these are printed out, okay? There's I think there's about 500 and, how many are there? Maybe 560 pages or so, like that, okay? And it has all of the approach charts. It has your SIDs. It has your terminal procedures, all that kind of stuff. Airport diagrams, you know, all that. All those pages, all those charts that we download or have access to in Navigraph and all those other pieces of software. Well, back in the day, it used to be hard copy books. And I remember buying this book at our local airport, okay? And it cost me like $10 to get the printed version of this book, okay? But it's 2003. I don't know if you can read that on here, but this is from 2003, and I've had it forever. And but later on, obviously, our sims were... You can get the charts with using the applications such as Navigraph and little nav map and blah, 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 and any online flight planning tool, some SimBrief, all that kind of stuff. You guys know this probably more than me. I'm a scenery creator 90% of the time. And at least nowadays, back in the olden days with the older versions of Microsoft Flight Simulator, I was more of a pilot than I was a creator, but now I'm more of a creator than I am a pilot. And I'm relearning how to fly, basically. But I want you guys to know that if you are interested, these books are updated all the time. I think, what is it? Is it 56 days or is it 3 months? I can't remember. This book, well, I can take a look right here because it tells me. This is July 10th, 2003, and it's valid to 4th of September, 2003. Okay? So that time period. All right? But there's new books put out every like I said, I can't remember, is it 56 days, 58 days? Whatever it happens to be. I'm going to say 3 months, okay? No, that's not 3 months. That's 56 days. All right, so these books are republished every 56 plus days, plus or minus. All right, now, here's the thing. You can simply go to this site, and I'll go ahead and put a link in the description of the video for this page, okay? And if you wanted your terminal procedures, basically click, and it takes you to the terminal procedures page. And if you scroll down, you're going to see all of those volumes right here, okay? Like, for instance, I said that I have EC2, which is Indiana and Ohio, and here's EC2 right here, all right? Currently, they have 2 versions. They have the current version that's out now, in this particular case, June 5th, 2023 to August 10th, 2023, but they also anticipate or have the next edition already published up on their site, which is right here, which will take us from August 10th, 2023 to October 5th, 2023. Now, you remember, this one went from July to September, all right? This August one goes to October, all right? So I think that's 56, 58 days. I keep saying that, but you guys let me know in the comment, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Something like that. All right, but if you want this product in a PDF instead of this printed out book, all right, it's just a matter of clicking that link to get the PDF. All right, now I'm going to pause here for a second. Okay, so I went into the folder. I have a folder, My Documents Charts, right? Okay, and in there, that's where I save these PDFs that I work with. All right, so if I want to work on the current version, which is June to August, which that's the period we're in now, I think August 10th, so we have 9 more days until this one's valid. Okay, and if I right click and open this up in Adobe Illustrator, goodness sakes, where's my brain? Adobe Acrobat. All right, we have this book. It's the exact same book, all right, except it's updated. All right, this book here right here is 20 years old. Okay, not to say that I've been using this for 20 years. I went to digital in terms of using an app to get the data, but you can download this. All right, you can download this actual book in a PDF format, and it's almost exactly the same, except the data is up to date. Now, some of the cool stuff that I like is tells you a lot of things about like PAPIs and visual approaches and stuff like that. It gives you the different types of approach light systems here in the United States, that kind of stuff. I mean, very useful stuff. And this is in every single edition of the book. All right. So if you have one book, I mean, you can use that as a reference. But let's go down, and I believe if I come down, whoops, I know this is probably a real dry video, and I apologize for that. But, you know, this kind of stuff excites me because I'm a cartographer. For 40 years, I've been making maps, okay? Doing geographic analysis and things like that. Okay, so like for instance, right here is Mansfield, Ohio, which is one of my airports on flightsim.to, and Norwalk 5 Alpha 1 is in here somewhere. It's not on this page. I know it's around here somewhere. But anyway, I can find Norwalk. It's in here. I just had it not too long ago. But we can find, oh, this is the airport data. This is not the page where you'll find it. All right, this is the page where you find it. No, that's not the table of contents either. Okay, so here's Norwalk, Ohio, and it gives you some information about Norwalk, Ohio. But there's a table of contents. There it is, right there. There it is. There it is. There it is. Okay, so here's Norwalk, Huron County Airport, 5 Alpha 1, which is the current airport that I'm working on. It's our home airport, and it's found on page 528. So I'm just going to kind of come down here to get to page 528. Okay, so I got a ways to go. I know this is really boring watching me go through this, but there's 569, so we're going to kind of come up. I can just come over here and type in 528, and it takes me to the wrong spot. That's 528, page 528 in the actual document. So we're going to come down here. Man, I know I hate doing this stuff because I know it's really boring. Okay, there's 515, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. There we go. Let's get to 528. All right, you guys know. You guys can figure out how to get there. But, okay, I got 4 more pages. I got to get to it just because. All right, there's 528. Norwalk, Huron County, 5 Alpha 1. All right, and there's only one approach for this tiny little airport. It's an RNAV GPS approach. All right, so I can open up this 20-year-old book, and I can look at that page in this book. All right, but obviously your declinations are up to date and everything like this. But all of this book is in one PDF. All right, so I don't need to. I no longer have to spend $10 for a hard copy, and I can using since this is Adobe Acrobat, I can print these pages out if I wanted to. All right, now, so let's go back to the actual FAA website again. So here, these are all these pairing books for the United States. All right, and then up here Let me come up to terminal procedures, which I was already there. Now I want to go to digital products. All right. And then if you want to see which area you're in, okay, you can look at coded. I got to find it. I thought there was an index somewhere. I know there is. I know there is. Wait a minute. Yeah, here it is, right here. It's right up above the list. Duh. So if I click that, I'm going to get a map, which is almost the same map that's at the back of this book. All right, it tells you what pages you need for whatever area that you want. Okay, so I'm in EC2, which is right here, but you just look the part of the country that you're in, find out what book it is, and then download that PDF, and you have basically an electronic version of this book, and you can use it any way that you want. All right, most of you guys know this, all right, but for those that don't. All right, now here's another one. These are the DDT PPs, okay, which is the same thing as this book, except it's not organized like a book. All right. Here in the United States, there's 5. All right. There's 5 books. Alpha, I think, if I'm right, I think Alpha is the West Coast and Echo is the East Coast, I believe. I think it goes left to right. I haven't really concentrated on understanding that, but I think that's right. Okay, now, these are 1 gig files. If you have a high-speed internet, I have Starlink, so it didn't take that long to download these. All right, but these, the contents of these files, these DDTPP files, all right, they are a little different than the actual book that looks just like this book right here. All right, let me pause and find that for you. Okay, so here's I downloaded Alpha, okay, for here in the United States, and this is the effective date for the charts that I downloaded. So these are the next update. This is August 10th through the what was it, October 5th or something like that. Now and this was a zip file, and I downloaded the zip and I extracted it. And do these numbers look familiar to you? If you go to AirNav and you go to a particular airport and you see the listing of all the procedures, SIDS, and all that kind of stuff, notice that these number codes, all right, are consistent with the file names that you download from AirNav, all right? And these are the exact same thing, all right? So AD is most likely an airport, right? So if I right-click that and I open that in Acrobat, I'm getting Abilene, Texas airport chart, okay? So you can print that off. You can have all these all this data stored on your computer if you ever wanted to. Now, like I said, most of you guys are using third-party software that already has all of this data built in, okay? So it makes getting this information a lot faster, all right? But I love having this stuff around. You know, maybe I'm not online, okay? Maybe I have my computer somewhere and I don't have internet access. I have all this data on my computer that I can get access to any one of these charts, all right? I can even save these to my phone, and I can look at these charts anytime that I want to, okay? If I'm traveling and maybe I'm taking a flight somewhere, and I can have access to these files, all right? So everything that's published out there here in the United States, you can get that data, those files, directly from the FAA free of charge, all right? And there's a whole bunch of other stuff. All right. You got VFRs. I think I just shut that down, and I wish I didn't. Okay. So I'm going to open this back up, and I'm going to go back up to my chart. I have this on my other screen, and I'm going to come down to, I think I have it both as a PDF and a GeoTIFF. And I'm going to show you the GeoTIFF here in a bit. But I want to come down here, and where did I say this stuff? Oh, my documents, charts. Do I have? Yeah, I have Detroit in here as well. Okay, so here's the Detroit PDF. So I right click that, open that with Accurat, and we have the sectional. Okay. This right here happens to be the PDF version, okay? And I can zoom into full scale, and I can move over to where I want to. Let's come down. Okay. Where am I at? Oh, that's Lake Sinclair. That's between Detroit and... All right, so here's the Cleveland area. And 5 Alpha 1 sits right here's Cedar Point, the famous amusement roller coaster site. And here's 5 Alpha 1 right here. Okay, so this is your typical sectional. All right, and I actually have up on the wall, let me see if I can point at it right here. I have a paper version of it that I got years and years and years ago, and I just have that up on the wall for grins. Okay, so this is the PDF version of the sectional for the Detroit plate. Okay, and so that's what we were looking at, the FAA site right here. All right, so that's the VFR charts. You can also download just the Class B airspaces without anything underneath them. So if I click on the Cleveland, this shows the Class Bravo airspace for Cleveland with nothing underneath it. Sorry. All right, so we got that. Let's go back. All right, so you can also look at obstacles, digital obstacle files. And you can see obstructions and things like that. All right. You can see towers and, that kind of information as well. All right. Now, this video has a second part. So if you want to download this stuff, here's the site right up here. And like I said, I'll put it in the description of the video for you. So make that easy, except I'll take you to the actual digital products itself. Okay, so you can play around with that, download this useful stuff if you want to, and just know that your Navigraph and your online flight planners, they have this data as well, and I totally understand that. I know that, okay? But if you wanted the data on your computer, it's right there, okay? Now, here's something else that I do. Okay, this is for the cartography part of the video, but I think you pilots and scenery designers are gonna like this as well. At least I hope. Okay, so I make maps for a living. All right. In this case, I make like nice looking wall maps. I put them in PDF format, and you can take them to any printing house that has a large format printer, and you can print my maps and you can put them on the wall. Okay. Not many people use paper maps anymore. I understand that. And why would you in this digital age? But if you like pieces of art, a map is a piece of art. That's what I do when I'm not busy doing geographic analysis. All right, I do a lot of remote sensing. I deal with Landsat and Sentinel Earth observation satellite data for agriculture and natural disasters. I do that kind of analysis. But on the side, I also make nice looking wall maps. So I have an Ohio map, and this is my topographic data that I work with. This is actually three-dimensional data that I can do 3D models and stuff like that. This is a mix of the space shuttle topography, radio topography program that they had back during the space shuttle days. And it's also a mix of LiDAR, which is light ranging, laser ranging, three-dimensional mapping. All right, so this is kind of a hybrid. It's both. All right. And I put them together and I create topographic maps. But here's the cool thing, all right? If you go to the FAA site, you'll see that they have GeoTIFFs. And okay, GeoTIFF is a raster file. It's just a picture. It's like somebody took a photograph of the map, all right? And then they georeferenced it to the Earth, all right? They found control points on the map and they mapped them, and they matched those control points on the paper map with the same control points on the Earth's surface, and they created a georeferenced map so you can overlay it on top of your geographic data, all right, your surveyed data or whatever. Sorry for I'm going to clear my throat. So in the process, you georeference a paper map to the real world, so it overlays on your GIS data. Okay, the data that I have for this particular project for Ohio, because I'm in the process. I've been in the process for quite a few months, making a nice, big, gigantic wall map of Ohio in my stylized cartography. Okay. But you can use that FAA data and overlay it right on the map if it's geocoded. So let's take a look, and I'm trying to figure out which area it is. So I'm going to turn on this. If you look, I know I'm in the way. Okay, so let me move this up so you can see it. All right, down here I have some GeoTIFFs of the en route low-level airways. Okay, and my particular area, Ohio, it needs pages 26 through 30 to overlay on my map. So I'm going to turn on 30, and you notice there's kind of a ghost image up here, all right? And basically all I've done is taken the data for low altitude airways, page 30, and I've come up to my raster layer and I've turned on some transparency. Okay, if I click on 30, I have 75% transparency on there. So you can see my three-dimensional data underneath it. So if I zoom in, you're getting all of the low-level airways showing up on where they are, based on along with my three-dimensional vector data. Okay, now I'm in the process of also converting all of this data into vector formats as well. Okay, so I can play with that and do some 3D analysis with it. All right, but this is northern Ohio, and these are all of the different low-level stuff. Now you can also, if I have it, yeah, here's the georeferenced sectional. So I turn that on, and again, let me make sure I have everything off. Yeah, this is the sectional. Okay, let me turn off the underlying three-dimensional data. Okay. And this is the sectional right here. All right, that's just like the one that's on the wall and the Detroit sectional that I just showed you, except I have transparency turned on to 75%. So it doesn't hide what I have underneath. All right. So let me turn the, here, I'll just turn my hill shading back on. All right. And you kind of zoom in and you can see these are trees. Okay, it's based on LiDAR data. All right, but here's Tiffin, Willard, and here's Norwalk right here. Okay, and there's 5 Alpha 1 Airport, and this is the sectional sitting on top of my GIS data. All right, so I have road maps underneath, all that kind of stuff. And I've gotten that GeoTIFF from the FAA. Okay. One other thing that I've been working on as part of my project of turning all of these paper maps into vector data that I can do analysis on, because doing analysis on raster is totally different. Okay, so here is the Detroit sectional. All right, and if I turn on the 3D stuff, there you have the topography underneath highlighted in color codes. All right, but it has the sectional sitting right on top, and they are, the distance precision is probably plus or minus a meter or so from where it really is. All right, so there's some distortion here and there, but not much. Okay. If you notice on their paper map, they have this. If you notice this double line right here that's on the sectional, okay, that is a bypass that goes around the town of Norwalk, and I have a very highly accurate. Okay, my highways are plus or minus a few centimeters. All right. So my highways are more accurate than this paper map, but it follows that track pretty darn well around the corner. Okay, and this helipad is actually at our local hospital that's in town. All right, but we come out here, and here's the airport, and it's right where it needs to be. Okay. Now, the other thing I've worked in is, you notice that I'm having to turn on some transparency. So if I turn off the sectional and I turn on the en route, and this is the high altitude airways. Okay, if I turn this on and I turn my GIS data off underneath, okay, we're getting what you would normally see on the high altitude. All right, okay, it is opaque. All right, so if I click on this and I come up to transparency and I turn up and I say no transparency whatsoever, all right, and then I turn on my layers below it. Okay, I turned on my digital surface model and I turned on my hill shading, but you can't see it because the background of that map is white. Okay, so this is like I've taken an actual picture and laid it on top of my Ohio map, and you can't see anything underneath. And again, that's why I was putting the transparency up to 75%. But that makes the data information kind of see-through as well. All right. But if you didn't want to do that, you can use another piece of software, and you can turn this into a PNG file, which allows you to have a transparent background. And most of you guys know this in the world is, I'm going to minimize this, is that there is another GIS software out there called QGIS. A lot of people say QGIS, which is, it's a pet peeve of mine. It's QGIS. Used to be Quantum GIS, but they shortened it to QGIS. All right, so here is the same file, and it's opaque. All right, it's just like I scanned it. All right. But I used QGIS because there's some neat tools in QGIS, and ArcGIS Pro, it's a little bit more complicated. But I can come up to raster, and I can go to conversion, and I can go to translate, and I can take this georeference TIFF, all right, this georeference TIFF, and I can save that, by coming down here to save temporary file and save this file, and I can specify that I want to save it as a PNG instead of a TIFF. And so I can convert that into a PNG, and that white background will be transparent. Okay, but I'm not going to do that because I already have one made. So I'm going to close this. And so I use QGIS to do that. And then I brought it into ArcGIS, where the georeferencing tools are more powerful. Okay, and I automatically georeferenced the PNG, that new PNG that I had, with the actual high altitude plate 10. All right, so I brought both of these in, the ENR_H10 TIFF and my PNG that I saved out of QGIS. I bring those both in, and then I georeferenced. I say, and if you want to see something, let's go to imagery, and I have georeferencing tool here in ArcGIS. I click this, all right, and I get automatically, if I'm georeferencing, the auto georeference will be not grayed out. I can use it, and I click that button, and it will automatically georeference based off of the other one. All right, so I did that. All right, now here's the cool thing. Once that process, I know this sounds like a big long process. It takes like 5 minutes. Okay, but here's the output H10 PNG, and if I turn this one off and I turn this one on, okay, now everything is nice, crisp, and clean, okay, in terms of color. All right, now we got some artifacts here, okay, but that's okay. I'm more concerned with the lines and where the symbol is. But there's no longer this layer. If we go to imagery, not imagery, go to raster layer, notice that my transparency is 0. The white has automatically been assigned to the alpha channel, so it automatically knows it's transparent. All right, so I can overlay any of this data that I get from the FAA right onto my GIS data, and then I can convert this data into vector. So instead of having a paint layer like it is right now, this will actually be a vector line that I can do analysis on. All right. Some of the stuff you will probably never ever do. Okay. So, but coming up on one of my on my map store that I have is I'll have a map of Ohio, and I'll have all the data that's outside of Ohio clipped out, and you will have all of the high airways. So that kind of gives you an aeronautical map that you can have if you wanted to someday. All right. So I'm a cartographer, so I find things that are fun for me in terms of cartography. All right. So you can georeference, like a lot of your third-party software. You notice, like if you're doing live maps and stuff, and you bring up an approach procedure or something like that, that like Navigraph will actually have the airport image georeference the way that it is. Okay, so instead of it being on your tablet like this, it will be oriented on your actual map in the app. Okay, but like I said, the stuff that if you download directly from the FAA isn't like that. Okay, each one of those plates aren't georeferenced. Okay, but the big ones are. Okay, such as your low altitude airways, your high altitudes, your sectionals, that kind of stuff. You can get the georeference for that. But if I just wanted a airport plate and I want it to be oriented to like Cleveland Hopkins Airport or something like that, I would have to georeference those. So just some fun things to think about. The big thing is I wanted you guys to know about the FAA's digital products page. And like I said, you can download any one of this stuff and everything is free. And you can store it wherever you want and find another use for it. But like I keep saying, I understand that everybody uses some kind of flight planning software that has this stuff built in. I'm not that naive. Okay, so those are more useful and more practical because everything is ready to go for you as you're doing your flight planning or flying and using your electronic flight book and all that kind of stuff. But I just wanted you guys to know that this is where all those software companies get the data for here in the United States. Okay, they get it directly from this. All right, and you also have direct access to this stuff as well. So I hope this was kind of useful information. If you're in the GIS world, you can find uses in your daily work. If you're working with this stuff, if it's relevant to what you're doing. But if you're a senior designer or if you're a pilot, I see a lot of good uses for this to have your own library offline that you can do this kind of stuff. Anyway, comments, leave them. I don't, we can dialogue about this. We could have a lot of fun talking about it. You can say, what a dummy. Why would you do this if it's already available? Well, if I'm offline or if I can't afford to have a subscription to a flight planning software, I know there's free ones out there, but the really good ones, you pay a monthly fee to use. If I don't have the funds to do that and I want these maps, this is a way to do it. You don't have to do all that GIS stuff that I was doing. You can just download the PDFs and have that library available to you. All right. Anyway, I hope this was fun. I hope you enjoyed seeing some of this stuff and where to get this stuff for free right from the FAA here for the United States. If you haven't, please subscribe. If you feel inclined to support what I do on this channel, buymeacoffee.com/myphysicalworld. Anyway, you guys are awesome. Thank you for your subscriptions. If you haven't, please subscribe. Hit the notification bell and give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. Doesn't matter. If you don't like what I do, I understand. Anyway, you guys have a fantastic rest of the week, and I will see you on our next video. We will see you guys later.